Hi, this is Carl with another SOP video for managed service providers. And look what I have here. It's a sales funnel. I got this because I'm starting a new video series over on the Relax, Focus, Succeed channel called The Cheeky Sales Coach. And you can find out more at cheekysalescoach.com. But that's not what we're here for today. I want to talk about sales funnels because I want to talk about the difference between marketing, sales, and having budgets for both of those. It's most important that you actually have three categories of things related to sales. First of all, marketing is not sales. That's why it needs a separate category. Then you have sales, but you also have things related to sales that don't go in the sales budget or the marketing budget. All right, let's take a closer look. So what do we mean by marketing versus sales? Well, marketing is everything that comes before sales, right? So printing up your business cards, that's marketing. Putting ads on Google, most of the time, that's marketing. Getting people to call you for a network assessment, that's marketing. Basically, everything other than asking people for their money is marketing. So most people get this confused because the two are very close together. That's actually going to be a topic of the first video in the 50 video series. But for our purposes today, I want to talk about kind of the budgeting side of marketing versus sales. When you look at what you spend on marketing, this is things like search engine optimization, which, as a complete side note, I think is a waste of money in the 21st century. But if you're going to spend money on that, you need to be super clear. It is marketing. It is about name recognition. It's about people finding you. It is not about sales. Sales consists of literally asking people for their money. So for most people in small business, including SMB IT, your budget for sales is probably microscopic if you don't have a salesperson. It costs very little money to actually ask people for their money, right? So if you don't have a salesperson and you're not putting out a salary, you have very few things that are specifically geared towards saying, buy now, pay now, put in your credit card, click here, right? There's only a handful of things that actually count as sales. So most of what you do, the cost for LinkedIn, right? If you're a subscriber for LinkedIn, that is a marketing cost. The cost for most of your Google ads that send people to your web page, that's a marketing cost. Having the web page rebuilt, that's a marketing cost, okay? Now, what about the cost of the actual transaction? Let's say that you've set up your financial tool, whether it's WooCommerce or QuickBooks or whatever, you've got something that allows people to actually give you money, okay? Or connected to your PSA, let's say you use Connect Booster or something like that, that allows you to send people an invoice so they can send you money. Okay, that's not a sales piece. It's a tool that you use in your business. So things like that, the budget for those pieces has to be in the administrative side. That's part of your overhead, right? So in some ways, it's kind of like bank fees, right? You pay, whatever, $12 a month for the joy of having a bank account. That's not a sales expense. That's not a marketing expense. That's part of the overhead of running your business. So you need to be super clear about this because it matters in terms of trying to figure out return on investment. The classic joke in marketing is that I don't know, 50% of my marketing doesn't work, but I don't know which 50%, right? So if you don't know what works and what doesn't, believe me, it's okay. There are companies spending hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars who don't know whether their stuff is working or not. And that's why, to be honest, a lot of large companies scattershot the universe with all their marketing because they don't know what works. And even when you get pretty sophisticated and you track people's clicks and how they find you and what they click on and how they engage, if you really do a very sophisticated job of that, what you find is people will click on your site, find out about you, go away for 3 months, come back later, investigate your site some, fill out a form, go away, come back 3 months later, subscribe to your newsletter, right? That whole wind up that might take them a year of kind of looking at you and determining whether or not they want to do business with you, it's mostly unseen to you. But if you track that information, and I know most of you don't, you'll find that it takes a long, long time to warm people up. All of that is marketing. The actual transition, click here, put in a credit card, give me your money, that is administration. So the sales piece, the sales budget for most SMB companies is very, very small. Again, the exception is if you have an actual salesperson. So don't confuse sales and marketing, right? In fact, the perfect example is SEO. SEO cannot increase your sales. It's not designed to do that. It won't do that. Its goal is not sales. It only has one job, which is to get you higher ranked on a search engine. And there's lots of reasons why it's a waste of money, but the biggest one is people spend money thinking it's going to get them sales. Now, if you call somebody and say, hey, I want to hire you to make sales calls for me, we're going to go to Info USA or someplace. We're going to get a list of manufacturers or doctors or attorneys or whatever, and I want you to call down that list. That is a sales expense. That is people who are trying to get you out of the marketing funnel and into the sales funnel. Once you're in that sales funnel, the goal is to set an appointment. That's a sales appointment. And then have a sales discussion and sign a sale contract, right? So that process is part of your sales budget. So if you hire somebody to do a call down for you, that is part of sales. Most of the time, when you hire somebody to help you with a mailing, you gotta think about that in terms of marketing, unless the mailing specifically says, sign up now, you get the special deal, and you become our customer, give me your credit card right now. If that appeal is sales, if you're asking for money, put it into the sales bucket. Next question, who cares? Well, okay, I get it. You really need to have different ideas of why you're doing marketing and what you expect from it. Marketing is the long, long, long play. So for me, I always enjoy sending out newsletters. You know this if you're on my newsletter. I send out a weekly newsletter for Small Biz Thoughts. I send out a monthly newsletter to my online community. I send out a monthly newsletter for Relax, Focus, Succeed. When I had an IT business, I always send out a monthly newsletter for over a decade. That's how we communicated long term to let people know we have this coming up and this coming up and this coming up, and make sure that you are safe from ransomware and safe from viruses, and here's some tip sheets for Microsoft Word, and here's what's the latest and greatest with Office 365, right? All of that communication builds a relationship long term. For prospects, it's an introduction to who you are and why they might want to do business with you. For your clients, it's an idea of kind of what you're up to and what's changing and what they need to be aware of, right? So it's got a specific goal, and that long-term play that builds relationships, that has a budget and it's worth paying for. Sales is a different thing. Most of us only do sales in specific sprints where we say, okay, we're going to have this sales campaign and I need to get 4 new clients or 12 new clients or whatever it might be. You go out and do a sales push. You call down through the list. You call down 3 times. Your time and the paid time of others that are spent doing that is part of the sales process. Marketing may or may not have a measurable outcome, but every penny you spend on sales should be accounted for and should also lead to income. If you are spending money on sales that leads to no sales, something is broken and you need to pay attention to that as soon as possible. Spending money on name recognition and blah, 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 that's fine. You have to understand, again, that's a long play. It's a steady spend over time. Sales is usually a sprint and it needs a return on investment. Other stuff, the cost of transactions and making sure that people can give you your credit card and all that sort of stuff, that's administration. So make sure that you divide these up appropriately, keep them straight in your books, and you will be set to track the cost and return on investment for your sales investment in the year ahead. For Small Biz Thoughts, this is Carl Palchuk wishing you the best of luck in your managed service business. Please like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell so you can be notified when we post a new video.